One of the biggest beliefs people carry when it comes to manifestation, especially in relationships, is this idea that if you really want someone, if you feel strongly for them, if you can't stop thinking about them, then it must be one-sided. That somehow your desire makes you weak, desperate, or chasing, and the other person is above you, out of your league, or simply not interested. You've been taught that if they're not showing up right now, it means they don't want you. That if they haven't texted, called, committed, or expressed their feelings, then the truth must be that you're alone in this desire. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start shrinking your own belief. You begin to assume rejection before anything has even happened. You convince yourself that love is something you have to earn, chase, or prove yourself worthy of. But this entire belief is flawed at its core, because it is built on appearances, not on inner reality. What you see in front of you is not the truth of what's possible. It is only a reflection of what has already been assumed. And when you understand this deeply, everything begins to shift. The truth is much simpler than what you've been told. If you want them, they can want you too. Not someday, not after years of struggle, not after you change yourself completely, but as a direct reflection of what you believe and assume right now. Desire is not random. You don't accidentally feel pulled towards someone without a deeper alignment behind it. The very fact that you can imagine being with them, that you can feel something real for them, that your mind keeps returning to that connection, is not meaningless. It is an indicator. But most people misunderstand this part completely. They take their desire and immediately mix it with doubt, fear, and insecurity. And then they wonder why the reality feels inconsistent. Think about it carefully. You say you want them, but at the same time, you are constantly thinking that they don't want you. You imagine being with them, but you also imagine them choosing someone else. You feel connected to them, but you also tell yourself that they're distant, unavailable, or uninterested. So what are you actually sending out? Not a clear signal of love, but a mixed, contradictory state. And the reality you experience will always reflect that confusion. This is why it feels like hot and cold behavior, like mixed signals, like uncertainty. It's not because they are complicated. It's because your inner state is divided. When you understand the law of assumption, everything becomes very clear. People do not show up in your life randomly. They show up in accordance with how you see yourself and how you see them. If you assume that they are someone who doesn't choose you, they will reflect that. If you assume that you are someone who is not chosen, that belief will play out again and again, no matter who you're dealing with. But the moment you start shifting this, the moment you start seeing yourself as someone who is wanted, chosen, and valued, something powerful begins to happen. This is where the idea becomes real. Who you want wants you to is not just a comforting sentence. It is a new assumption that you are choosing to live in. And at first, your mind will resist it. It will bring up all the evidence of why this isn't true. It will remind you of past conversations, current silence, or situations that seem to prove otherwise. But you have to understand, all of that is old. It is a reflection of what you used to believe, not what you are choosing now. Right now, in this moment, you can decide to see this differently. Instead of thinking that your desire is one-sided, you start seeing it as mutual, even if you don't have physical proof yet. You stop looking at the outside world for confirmation and start creating the confirmation within. You begin to think thoughts like, of course they want me. Of course they feel drawn to me. Of course there is something real here. And you don't do this as a way to convince yourself forcefully, but as a gentle shift in perspective that you return to again and again. This is where most people give up too early. They try to think differently for a few minutes or a few hours, and when nothing changes instantly, they fall back into their old patterns. But manifestation is not about one perfect thought. It is about what you consistently return to. It is about what feels normal to you. If it feels normal to believe that you are unwanted, then that will keep repeating. If it starts feeling normal to believe that you are deeply desired, things begin to rearrange around you. And here is something important to understand. You are not forcing someone to feel something they don't feel. You are not controlling another person in a negative way. What you are actually doing is shifting your own state. and people naturally respond to that shift. When you stop seeing yourself as lacking and start seeing yourself as chosen, your entire energy changes. You stop overanalyzing every message. You stop waiting anxiously for replies. You stop putting them on a pedestal, and in that space, something opens up. The connection starts to feel lighter, more natural, less pressured. And that is when things can move. Because when you are no longer operating from fear, you are no longer blocking the flow of what you actually want. You are allowing it. You have to realize that the version of them that doesn't want you exists only in your current assumption. Change the assumption, and you change the version of them that shows up. This is why two different people can experience the same person in completely different ways. One sees them as loving, attentive, and committed, while another experiences them as distant and confusing. The difference is not in the person. The difference is in the perception and belief. So instead of asking, do they want me? Start asking yourself, what am I assuming about this connection? Are you assuming that it's difficult, complicated, and uncertain? Or are you assuming that it's natural, mutual, and unfolding easily? Because whatever you choose will start reflecting back to you. This doesn't mean you ignore reality in a delusional way. It means you understand that reality is not fixed. It is always responding. And if it is responding, then you have more power than you think. You don't need to chase, convince, or force anything. You simply need to align with the version of the story where you are already wanted. And yes, your mind will try to pull you back. It will say, but what if I'm wrong? What if they never come? What if I get hurt? And those thoughts are not your enemy. They're just old patterns. You don't have to fight them aggressively. You just have to stop agreeing with them. Let them pass, and gently return to the belief you are choosing now. Because the truth is, you are always manifesting. Even when you are doubting, even when you are worrying, even when you are overthinking, you are still creating. So if that is the case, why not create something that actually serves you? Why not choose a belief that supports your desire instead of contradicting it? You don't need to wait for them to show interest before you believe they want you. That approach will always keep you stuck. You believe first, and then the reflection follows. It may not happen instantly, but it will happen naturally as long as you remain consistent. And this is where things become simple again. You want them, and that's okay. You don't need to suppress that desire or pretend you don't care. But instead of attaching fear to it, you attach certainty. You allow yourself to feel that this connection is real, mutual, and unfolding in your favor. You stop asking, why don't they want me? And start living in the knowing that they do. You stop looking for signs of rejection and start noticing moments of alignment, even the smallest ones. And slowly, your entire experience begins to shift. Because in the end, manifestation is not about changing them. It is about changing the story you are living in. And when you change the story from I want them but they don't want me to I want them and they want me too, everything begins to move in a completely different direction. The moment this becomes your natural assumption, you won't feel the need to chase or prove anything. You will feel secure, calm, and certain. And from that state, the relationship you desire doesn't feel distant anymore. It starts to feel inevitable. I hope this helped you. I will meet you with another golden nugget soon. Happy manifesting.